There can be only one podcast, and may it be the Prince of the Universe. Hi, folks, I'm Matt, and I want to talk more Marvel. Time for another Marvel update. I've been watching old Marvel. Still, as of this date, this podcast, have not finished Agatha all along. Instead, I have finished two other shows, or seasons, I should say. One was Runaways, Season 1, which is what I'm going to talk about, and then the other one was the Inhumans. Which one should I start with? I guess I'll go with the good, and that would be Runaways. Season 1, very good. This is based off a comic book I do not think I read. Now, I really wanted Bruce here tonight because he could tell me if I've read it before, because the characters look familiar, and I did look at the covers of the comics, and maybe I did read this like years ago and don't remember, but I don't remember anything about it, so maybe I didn't. I probably didn't. But either way, it's about a group of kids whose parents, they stumble onto their parent. This is all spoilers, by the way, but this thing came out in 2017, so screw it. But they find out that their parents they give a living sacrifice, and they put someone in a pod, and that person vanishes in a flash of light. And they're all dressed in robes. It's very ceremonial. And the kids are all friends, old friends, based on their parents' group, Pride. Pride is not a LGBTQ people, whatever thing. Pride is in a lion pride, a pack of wolves, which now the pride means something totally different. There's no way they could do this in the current day. In fact, in 2017, I don't know. I guess you could still get away with it, but Pride was like the lion pride, the pack of lions together. And there are these very powerful, rich people around the city who do good deeds, but obviously have something shady going on. And they're making these sacrifices. Now, like I said, the opening episode is really cool. It introduces the kids, the parents, and at first I didn't know what to think, but the ending, the ending of the first episode, it intrigued me. And going all the way through, you find the parents aren't that bad either. Some are, some aren't. Some are really funny, but you feel like, oh no, they're trapped. What? At first I thought they were the bad guys. And by the way, I still haven't read the comic book. I knew nothing about the comic book. And I kind of like that because I don't know how far this follows the comic book, but I don't know if the parents are supposed to be good or bad. I think they're good, and they're missing, or they're in a pack with some kind of devil who they want to get out of, and they don't want their kids involved. But the kids think it's something more sinister, and it definitely could be for some of them, but I don't know. And it does a really good balance of keeping you interested, because for some reason, one sacrifice doesn't work. The pod doesn't work, and it doesn't kill her, so they have to kill her on her own, but that doesn't count as an actual sacrifice. They have to find another one, and they got to hurry because time's running short, and you don't know. I mean, later on you find they're trying to rejuvenate this being or something who's a human, but not on the inside. Anyway, I found the whole series, the whole first season. That's all I've seen so far. I found it so interesting. I like the characters. At first, they had this like not a love triangle in a way, but so-and-so loves so-and-so, who loves so-and-so, who loves so-and-so. Wait, maybe it's 3 degrees. I don't know. Either way, I really enjoyed that for a while, that everyone's chasing after everyone else. For some reason, they resolved that at the end of Season 1. They said, here's who everyone's with, and here's who lucked out, because eventually someone in this string of love affairs must not get their person of desire. And I was kind of disappointed by that, because that was interesting in a way. Like, oh no, he loves her, but she doesn't love her. She loves someone else. And the person who loves this guy, loves someone else. I mean, it's just so on and so forth. So I thought, oh, that's really interesting. And I didn't think they drug it out in Season 1. In fact, it was just getting interesting, but they just wrap it up. And like the second to the last or last episode, everyone's coupled. I guess because they have to be. They had to speed that up. And it's a shame now, because now that everyone's coupled, I don't know. I haven't seen Season 2 yet, but that aspect of, oh no, who's going to get, he wants the girl, she wants the guy, but this guy also wants the other girl who wants that guy. Now that kind of intrigue between them is gone, or maybe it isn't. Maybe they switch it up. I don't know. I don't know what happens in Season 2. But either way, it's sad that I was sad they wrapped it up. Other than that, there are some good laughs in there. There's some decent music as it goes, younger music for kids. I'll be honest, I never bothered watching any of, I think Runaways is a Hulu show. Runaways and, what's the other one? Can't think of it right now. Oh, Cloak and Dagger. I think Cloak and Dagger was Hulu. Now, I never watched any of the Hulu ones. And because I was kind of done. I'd watched the Netflix one. It was, at first, you thought Netflix was going to be included. You know, all those characters were. I mean, Daredevil looks to be the only one they've saved from that. But you were hoping to get a glimpse of them. You know, maybe in the Avengers movie, you'd see one shot of them just fighting off aliens or whatnot. And that's all I would have wanted, really, is one shot of other superheroes joining the fight. But they didn't do that. And by the time Avengers had come and gone, it was kind of obvious they were going to leave these TV shows, which they said were all connected, you know, but they were going to get second tier and largely be ignored by the movies. And maybe they've even broken canon of the movies too. I don't know. I don't keep that much up with that. I'm usually one and done when it comes to the MCU. But I never bothered watching Hulu because I thought, what was the point? What was the point? They're just going to take these characters, do some interesting stuff with them or not, and then they'll never be mentioned in the MCU ever again. Now, I would have loved it if Hulu crossed over with Hulu, which you didn't see, and you kind of saw in the ABC shows. In a way, ABC had Agent Carter, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Inhumans, which I'm going to talk to in a minute. So there's a little bit of crossover there. But with the Hulu shows, if there is crossover, in fact, maybe I should look it up right now. I don't know when Cloak and Dagger hit. I think it hit the same time that Marvel Runaways Season 2 hit, yes. So maybe they will cross over eventually. Perhaps I'm trying to watch these in the years they came out. However, I don't know if I'm going to jump on Cloak and Dagger immediately. Juggling two Marvel shows back and forth, switching between episodes with an occasional Agatha all along viewing is what I'm doing right now. And I'm just going to see what's going to bore me enough to make me go back to watch Agatha all along. And so far, Runaways isn't it. Runaways was the best one I've seen recently. I've seen that one. Immortals, and I'm almost done with Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. But out of those three, Inhumans, not Immortals, Inhumans. But out of those three, Runaways is just running away from the competition. There's a girl who talks to a dinosaur. I dig that. I think the dinosaur's really good. They have a little CGI, a little animatronic action, which I appreciate. I think it's good. It worked for Jurassic Park. Why wouldn't it work for Runaways? It's really good. I'm hoping we'll see more of the dinosaur. I hope the dinosaur doesn't just kind of go away. You got one girl with super strength. All her eyes glow a little bit. Easy effect there. I actually don't like that character. That may be the only character I don't like. There is a character who's super smart and has fisticuffs that are power gauntlets that give him boom speed, or he can punch someone or something like that. It's okay to have the brain guy. I guess he's the techie guy, and that's fine. There's another kid who's the black kid. I guess he's the leader. I don't know. He's the one kind of getting them together, but he doesn't have an ability. He knows tech stuff too. The other guy's, I guess, more mechanical, and the other one's like computer techie. Maybe that's what it is. The other guy built those gauntlets with the help of his dad. And then there's another girl that glows and can float, I guess, and have like light power. Not interested in that power. But still, they're all kind of forming the superhero team. In fact, they make the joke, what should we call us? The Runaways, after all of the runaway orphans that disappeared, meaning were murdered by their parents. And they went, ooh, too grim. And I thought that was funny. Speaking of the parents and the relationship with the kids, at first it's like, they're punk kids. Oh, no one understands us. We're punk kids. The parents hate us. They don't get us. We don't get them. Parents are so square. And then midway through, it starts morphing with them where they start to have somewhat of a relationship. The main black kid, I don't know their names right now, and I just finished the show, but the main black kid with the glasses, he's suspicious of his dad, but his dad's trying to make connections. And he learns about his dad that he didn't do his cousin right or something like that. And so he is having problems with it. But, he asked his dad for girl advice once. The tech guy is by James Masseter. His father's James Masseter, or whoever, Spike from Buffy. It's great to see that guy back. He's a great actor. I've talked to him before. He's really kind to the fans. I had no idea he was in Runaways. No idea. I might would have watched it if I'd have known he was in it. But my wife probably would have watched it knowing he was in it, because we were both big fans of him, especially in 2017. We were probably still doing the Comic Cons back then. I had no idea he was in Runaways by then. But either way, he's really good, and his connection to his son for a brief moment was nice. The connections and the parents of the adopted girl and her adopted daughter who talks to dinosaurs, they're really funny. They're almost like comic relief. But the parents kind of have a storyline, and the kids have a storyline, and they share it back and forth. And that's why I'm kind of confused. I don't know if the parents are the bad guys. I think they're just caught up in something they're trying to get out. And they could be. I mean, some of them do bad things. But like one of the parents is responsible for killing the orphan's parents. But they never told her that. Either way, though, I kind of like the balance of I hate my parents, but then trying to make those connections with their parents. And in the end, of course, spoilers again, they're not going to connect with them. In fact, they're going to face off against them and then run away, run into hiding, because they're going to expose their parents' pride organization. And Jonah, I think, is the celestial being who's, maybe demonic. Maybe he's a demonic being. He's the one, he's going to be the big baddie. And I'm sure in the end, I promise you, the parents and the kids will band together to take on Jonas, or whatever his name is. That you could tell from a mile off what was going to happen. But for right now, I'm sure the parents will, the parent storyline is very interesting. I hope they keep that up for the second one. I don't know what's going to happen now. Kids are on the run. I'm sure there's going to be a manhunt. Maybe the parents helping. Maybe this is the turning point. Maybe Runaways went 3 seasons. So I'm assuming, again, I've not watched season 2 yet, but I'm assuming, I'm making my guesses right now, that they will find their kids, meet up with them, team up with them, and go after the big boss. So in season 3, they're on the same team, going after the big baddie. And that's the end of the show, I bet. But either way, there's going to be a showdown with Jonas or Jonah, or whatever his name is. Who cares? Other than that, again, shame on me for not giving Hulu Marvel shows a chance, because this one's excellent. Like I said, out of all the shows I was watching at the time, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I'm almost done. That'll be my next podcast. I finished off the last 2 seasons of that. That's my plan. And then, what was the other one? Oh, Inhumans. Well, I think everyone knows what I'm thinking about those 2. But I'm not here to talk about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I will say my thoughts on their final seasons later. I will switch gears and go over to Inhumans. Now, this is where I really wish Bruce was here. Because, and again, I tried to get a hold of Bruce. He is super busy with work and everything. I don't know if Wes watches all of these older ones, or he may not remember them. But Inhumans was one. It was supposed to be, to my knowledge, it was supposed to be a MCU movie. It was slated to be a movie. And then they said, no, let's bump it down to TV show. And then people hated it. Now, I never watched it. Because I was not interested in the Humans. But I heard bad things, too, on top of it. And the preview I saw didn't look that bad, but I just never bothered watching it on ABC. And when and here's what I think happened. Later on, and I've watched the series now. It's not good, and I'll explain why in a minute. But I think they know they screwed up. And Inhumans should have been a movie, and that's why we got later on, years later, the Eternals, which were kind of like the Inhumans, but more boring. They would have made a better TV show, meaning it would have sucked. And it's too bad that they used the Inhumans as a failed TV show and not given them a movie. I think if they would have put it in a movie, I think it would have been pretty good, because they would have had a bigger budget to do stuff in. I'm just saying. Wouldn't have been the best, but probably would have been good. Either way, they went with TV show. And so I watched, and the first episode plays like a movie. It's really good. It is really good. Unfortunately, one of the biggest problems is, and again, spoilers on this one that's like, what, 6, 7 years old now? So spoilers on Inhumans, like you're just, lining up to watch this piece of crap. But in Inhumans, Medusa, who has her hair, gets her hair shaved off in the very first episode, which is epic when it happens. Like, oh my gosh. But then, for the rest of the show, she's just a Sinead O'Connor wannabe with no powers. I mean, she can fight, and she's got a little bit of strength. But what makes her different from any other superhero, martial arts superhero in the MCU? And she just becomes generic, token fighter woman. That fighter girl is what they should have called her. So Medusa, just start calling her fighter girl. And I don't remember all the humans' names, but there's one that's nautical, and because I don't know why, but for some reason they save him for the last 2 episodes. He's missing at first, and they have to find him. Another one has hoofs as feet. However, in quick shots, it's him just running in boots. And I went back and checked it. So it's a shame. Of course, they're showing him from the waist up, and every once in a while they'll show his feet, which are hooves. And it's too bad because in some certain shots, they couldn't hide it, and he's just wearing boots. And that's really awful. So that degrades the character. There's another interesting character that could have been cool, but just wasn't. He was a guy who could pinpoint certain moments, and I don't know what his secret ability is, but he knows his eyes will draw a line and give numbers, crunch on scenarios that could happen, and how something could work and how something could fail. And one time he gets knocked unconscious and his powers aren't working that well. And he's supposed to kick this table, which is supposed to ram into the door frame, which is supposed to collapse because the whole green room they're in is very flimsy. And so it's supposed to fall down on everyone. That's going to give it escape. So what he does is he kicks the table and it just falls over. And his statistics are off, which was really funny. But they didn't use his power that much. And this human girl falls in love with him within 2 hours. Like, it's time to make woofie by that night. And I'm like, probably not, because he landed onto their marijuana farm. And they caught him. And they didn't trust him. They didn't know if he worked for the competition. But she's like, oh, come on, just give him a chance. And, and then she's talking to him while she's dealing with his head wound. And then she finds he's a nice guy. She takes him to the beach and then rubs up on him. And then it's lovey-dovey time. Very unbelievable. And his character kind of is ruined, too, because the Gargon is one of the names, the guy with the hoofs. And he dies, which is nice. But remember, no one can die in a TV show. That's against the rule. A good guy, main character, can't die. They can't do something that epic. That's too good for a TV show. So what they do is they put him back through neogenesis, I think is what they're calling it. It drives him a little nuts, but don't worry, he's going to be cured in the end. Terrible storyline. It looks like for the second half of the show, they didn't have anything for again, I don't know these guys' names, for the guy who can look and see designs and the, what if scenarios. They didn't have anything for him to do. So honestly, all these characters are a waste of time. What about except for one, Black Bolt. He's great. He can't talk, so he has to mime stuff out. And when he has to do humor, he's very funny. And I know they brought him back. See, I didn't get the oohs and ahs when Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, they brought him back as Black Bolt. I didn't know that. And now I kind of want to see that scene again. Because I'm glad they did. I'm glad he got to reprise his role. He is the only person worth coming back and reprising his MCU role. Black Bolt did a fantastic job. He was excellent. Probably the only person I enjoyed in the entire series was Black Bolt. There's a little girl, and I don't know what her ability is. She just controls a doll that can transport people. And she falls in love too, inside of a barn. Oh, that's another. Oh man, there's so many things to talk about when it comes to Inhumans. But Black Bolt, a winner. Now this other girl, she is trying to prepare them for this oversized dog. Lockjaw is his name, and when they see him, they're like, oh my gosh, that's a big dog. Wait, y'all are from the moon? Y'all are aliens. Okay, if this happens in the MCU, and in 2017, you've seen a bunch of characters already, quite possibly at this point, they have gone up against Thanos, or they're about to battle Thanos. You've seen a lot of crap before, or you've heard it in the news, and you're surprised that there's some big giant space dog in your barn? I don't know, and I think they referenced the MCU once. And I can't remember how. I should have wrote it down. But there's one MCU reference. There's no Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. reference, even though, remember, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that came out later on that season, in the same year, it did mention Inhumans. They can't use the word mutants, or couldn't back then. So they did use the word Inhumans, as a code word for mutants. So S.H.I.E.L.D. references the name of Inhumans, but Inhumans, for the most part, doesn't connect to anything, which is a shame. So the villain, let me talk about the villain here. The villain started off good. He's Black Bolt's brother. When he went through Neo Genesis, or Sega Genesis, I don't know what it is, he became a human. So he didn't get a power, and he's mad about it. So he's trying to go back through Neo Genesis to get his power back. And I don't even know if that's Neo right. I don't even know. And I just watched the show, and I still don't know the names of these stupid titles and the characters. I don't know. So obviously, maybe Runaways isn't the best show now that I don't know the characters. But either way, Inhumans, the villain there started off good and then ended so flimsy. Like, he came across as a just very shallow villain, meaning he just wants control. Okay, what does that mean? He wants to reign as king. He wants to what? He wants to get his powers back. He's tricking everyone thinking he's for the people, but he wants them to go down to Earth. But he wants to rule on the moon. It becomes very confusing. Of course, he is going to be responsible for blowing up their moon, or blowing up their land on the moon, and forcing all the Inhumans to go to the planet Earth, where their Black Bolt and his courtiers welcome them and say, this is our new world. Now, obviously, oh, by the way, the whole thing is filmed in Hawaii because ABC has a film studio out there. They had it, listen to this, they had it during the 70s. Hawaii Five-0. I know the history of this ABC studio. And they set up shop there back in the 70s or late 60s, I can't remember, and did Hawaii Five-0. When it canceled, they really didn't want to give up their filming studio in Hawaii, because the land was getting pretty expensive. So that's why Magnum P.I. was filmed in Hawaii. And after Magnum P.I. left, they got another Hawaii show. They always get Hawaiian shows. There's always some show from Hawaii on ABC to keep that film TV studio operating. And so they thought, why don't get Inhumans? Now, hey, Hawaii, great place to film. Beautiful places to film. I get that. But everywhere they go, it looks like something from Lost. So it looks like, I'm sorry, but Lost shot all the locations. So I don't think there is anything else left for them to film out there. But also, even though you got pretty locations, you put mostly everyone back in street clothes again. And they all look very normal. Now, yes, you got to save on production. They went all out, cinematic quality on the first episode, which was pretty good. In fact, I was thinking, man, people came down too hard on this. And then I realized, oh, no, they didn't. They really didn't. It was really, really bad at the end. And that's because they're in normal street clothes, and they're not really using their powers because they got a budget, right? And they can't go over that budget. But having a nice set like Hawaii does not let you off the hook. I'm sorry, it doesn't. The ending was subpar. Black Bolt finally got to speak for a little bit, which he would. The very first episode, he grunts a little bit and shoots a police car a few blocks down the street, and I thought that was funny. Just a little grunt. And I know a whisper can do a lot of damage from Black Bolt. Black Bolt's a cool character. It's a cool idea. And you knew he was going to speak at the end. I called it from the very beginning. He's only going to speak at the very end. There's some neat stuff here and there. There were moments of Inhumans, good stuff. But overall, I know why the show got canceled. I know why it didn't come back. It looked like they weren't going to let Medusa's hair grow out. So she was always going to be just fighting girl. But besides Black Bolt, they had trouble giving everyone character. And you could say, well, Matt, first season, everyone's trying to get into their character. That's true. But we're past that now. You have to be hitting it on season 1. That's usually why season 2 and 3 and 4 sometimes produce the best series or best seasons, because everyone's in character, the storyline is going, and those tend to be the better ones. However, when you're MCU, when you're Marvel, you got to hit it on you got to stick the landing on the first season. They did not. It only went 8 episodes, which was great. I didn't have to watch that many. I mean, shoot, S.H.I.E.L.D., well, not these seasons I'm watching, but before that, they were the full 22 episode seasons, and oh my gosh, it was killing me. But it's too bad, besides Multiverse of Madness, that no one else brought the Inhumans in. Black Bolt would have been nice. The rest of them I could do without, but Inhumans could have been something. They just screwed it up. What would I have done? I would have made the Eternals a TV show. Was okay if it bombed, and I would have saved the Inhumans for a movie. I still think they would have made a better movie with a bigger budget. So, but Inhumans loses to Runaways. Does it beat Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.? I don't know. Do I think any of these TV shows will matter? No, not in the long run. MCU doesn't want to bring him back, and it's too bad. Because I believe if they did, they'd drum up more interest in their older shows. If you brought these characters back, just even as guest stars and other TV shows, just kind of tie in the TV universe a little bit more. Throw Jessica Jones, Luke Cage. Give me Iron Fist again. I want to see him again. Bring all these characters back. Let's have fun with it. And it would gather up interest in some of these older shows. But right now, Runaways has the chance to be a top 10, maybe even top 5. I don't know how good it's going to be. Maybe even a top 5 Marvel show right now. I really am enjoying Runaways. I really think it's good. Right now, at least for season 1, I can enjoy it. I mean, recommend it. But if you want to hear my full recommendation, you have to wait until I get done with it. But Runaways, good. Excited for season 2. Let's say that Inhumans went a second season. I would be somewhat interested, but still I would be holding my breath, because I'm almost positive season 2 was going to be them, all the Inhumans on Earth in regular clothes, just with mediocre, low budget TV superpowers. And we weren't going to see that much, and definitely not going to see anyone in costume. Meaning the Inhumans in their costumes anymore, just fitting in, fish out of water, which is what they were in this season, but it was going to be amplified even more in season 2, and no, I would not want to watch that. But guess what, folks? Both of these I would rather watch than Agatha All Along. Still can't make it through with it. Not a single time watching Runaways. I think those things like 45, 50 minutes, it was smooth. It went through smooth. I had zero problems with Runaways, watching Runaways. I'd look at the clock and already the show would be over, like, wow. Because I was engaged the whole time. I was interested in it the entire time. I didn't have a problem with Runaways. Inhumans, it'd go a little bit, and I'd check every maybe 15, 18 minutes, 20 minutes go by. Maybe see how much longer I had. And, those didn't fly by, but they moved on by. Which, Agatha All Along, I'm checking it, and it's only been 30 seconds, and I'm still pissed off. I mean, I will eventually get through this, but I am seriously thinking, are any of these older TV shows going to be the one that says, you know what, I don't want to watch any more of this. I'd rather be watching Agatha All Along. If not, maybe I'll go through all of the unwatched Marvel TV shows I skipped over back in the day. MCU, I should clarify, MCU. I'm not doing the X-Men one. Legion, The Gifted, no. Also on my list is, besides Cloak and Dagger, the last 2 seasons of Jessica Jones and Hellstrom is another one that came out in 2020. And because Bruce wants me to watch it, Hit Monkey, which he really loves. And hopefully he will be on for that one. But again, he couldn't be on for these. It's okay. He doesn't really remember them that well. I'll probably keep doing this, showing one season, reviewing one season of a show, or maybe 2 seasons of the same show, which when I'm done with S.H.I.E.L.D., I'll come back and do the last 2 seasons of S.H.I.E.L.D. next week. But anyway, thoughts on Inhumans. Don't tell me about Runaways yet because I'm not done with it yet. But thoughts on Inhumans. What did you think about that TV show, and how could they have made it better? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you next time on Princes of the Universe.